The maiden edition of the International Day for the Protection of Education provided a veritable platform to review and draw attention to the importance of protecting education with a view to ensuring that a generation of children are saved. With the unprecedented impact of insurgency in northern Nigeria and the effects of the COVID-19 pandemic across the world, the protection of education has become a necessity, hence the need to proffer workable solutions to the crisis bedeviling the education system in the country. In this regard, the United Nations Children's Fund UNICEF is engaging with the Federal Ministry of Education, Defense, Humanitarian, Education Emergency Working Group and other key stakeholders in the sector to proffer solutions to the crisis.
Can slip in the event of continued attack on higher education. Likewise, the Nigerian military shall not relent in our efforts to protect the integrity of Nigeria and ensure her continued existence and growth in safety and security. We shall continue to make efforts to ensure that education is not stopped, even in the face of conflicts, keeping in mind all necessary protocols and guidelines, including the Safe Schools Declaration. As the Nigerian military continues to step up efforts towards protecting our national assets, including education, I call on communities, groups, and individuals to avail us all necessary cooperation. It is in our togetherness that we protect education from all forms of attack and save a nation.
School children are missing their future for education, and if we do not put them back to school, and of course that's mostly the responsibilities of the state, the parents and the international community to support that efforts, we will have a lot of problems, because when children grow without education, when children grow without a future, they become an easy prey for anyone who wants to give them a future or promise them heaven or whatever they need to. So that is why we are putting. UNICEF works with the partners and works with the government, and since 2016 we have supported the construction of 1,000 classrooms, temporary learning spaces, to make sure nearly 1 million children benefit from those.
We have, found the need to partner with Ministry of Defense, because Ministry of Defense has a very strong role. We know that in countries of the world like Nigeria, we know that education will not happen if the military is not, physically present. However, we see that, with the military, with the security forces, it changes the civilian nature of a school. So this is focusing on the military and looking for ways that issues concerning protecting school safety and security can be mainstreamed into some of their documents, so that they'll be able to handle children and handle the educational sphere, in the manner that should ensure that there's protection.
Stakeholders in the sector recently met in Maiduguri, the Borno state capital, which is considered one of the epicenter of major attacks, to find ways of implementing the Safe School Declaration in the country. The Minister of Defense, Bashir Magashi, has consistently reiterated that the survival and future of a nation is threatened when our education is under attack. Attacks on education often come in forms of harassment on the learners, educationists, abduction or sexual harassment, forced recruitment into the armed groups, and attacks on education infrastructure. The establishment of the Department of Education Services in the Defense Ministry underscores the importance of the military in ensuring the protection and safety of communities, education facilities, as well as making sure that teaching and learning are sustained.
It's part of the Borno state and part of the northeast states of the country is still what you could determine under conflict. Access becomes restricted. Yeah. There are many villages where people fled. We have quite significant number of IDPs, at least 10 of them in many different places, and these are large IDPs. And all of those displaced places and people who live in these places, who lived in that places and left are living in displacement situation. And in these kind of conflict affected areas, you're likely to see a lot of children that are displaced.
As a way of driving the Safe School Declaration in the Core North, the United Nations Children Fund, Unicef, and other partners introduced radio and television schools in remote communities in Borno as a result of the COVID-19 pandemic. Statistics show that over 1 million children who have been taken off the streets are currently benefiting from the teaching and learning intervention centers established by UNICEF. In addition to the provision of schools and infrastructural facilities by governments, UNICEF and its partners are keying into the Education Ministerial Plan to support the state governments by providing Train the Trainers initiative, as well as providing learning materials and incentives. The Borno state government also reiterated its determination to creating an enabling environment for interventions in the protection of education to thrive, while applauding the military, UNICEF and partners for their interventions so far.
This camp has over 16,000 individuals and over 7,000 school-aged going children. But TDH is the only organization that is providing up to this number education activity to children in this camp. Only able to accommodate only 2,170 in this facility. So that's one of the big challenges that we are facing. We are advocating for education sector to advocate for more partners to come in and provide education support to these out-of-school children.
They are teaching us how to read, write, and to help our friends with something. I want to be a soldier. This Boko Haram that will stop people, I want to become a soldier that will bring end of this Boko Haram, inshallah.
Meanwhile, community and parental attitudinal change towards Western education, inadequate resources, security, and accessibility are still some of the major challenges militating against these intervention programs, as there are lots of out-of-school children due to conflicts and the COVID-19 pandemic. So far, a total of 109 countries have signed into the Safe School Declaration initiative, and there's a need for all stakeholders to strictly adhere to the agreement signed by all.